somebody like Obasanjo is very active politically, and he has strong opinions. But I mean, for a man who was one of the best presidents, I still think Obasanjo was the best president Nigeria ever had. I still believe so. And naturally, he will have an idea of, he'll be passionate about who governs. Because these soldiers are really more patriotic than us, having risked their lives at one time or the other for this country. They have higher stake in trying to see that things work. But that is not to say they...
But do you hold the same view that people say that Tinubu bulldozed himself to power through money, using money?
Oh, if nobody says it, I will say it. If nobody has ever said it, I will say it. It's money, he bought it. Ebola worked on the value of greed in the human mind, in the human being.
I don't know about power brokers, because that's one thing that will do this country that is taking us down the road every year. Now, power brokers or not, they only have one vote. And with due respect to the names you mentioned, they don't carry any weight anymore. If a government wants to do the right things, first of all, think about God, whatever they're doing. Second of all, think about the people. Now, does IBB and the rest, do they care about people? No, it's about themselves. Because bottom line is when the person that they back gets elected, they want to claim the credit and appoint their people to become whoever, which is wrong. I'm sorry to keep saying this, Nigerians are suffering.
Tinubu has gone ahead to stabilize his presidency by focusing on governance challenges, despite that his key contenders, that's PDP's Atiku Abubakar and LP's Peter Obi, have continued to challenge his presidency through constant criticism of government policies under the APC-led federal government.
Flowing in droves while other people are just watching. So I don't understand this type of government. Before I never associated him with a tribalist or a sectionalist. I never associated him with this. But since he came into government, I find it very difficult to say he's not one. If you talk about election, talking to me on the election, don't ever use the word won. He didn't win it, he rigged it. I'll repeat it until I die. With the knife on my neck, I'll say he didn't win. He knows he didn't win. I used to say this, if there's something in this room, and we go out and we find that it is missing, the man who stole it knows he's the one that stole it. We might not know, we'll be accusing each other, but he knows. So they know what they did. I mean, they're humans, they know what they did, they know how they did it. The only charitable thing I can say is that they're in government. But as to how they got there, we will never agree. I mean, they know it, we agree, they know it, and that they know I know it.
What the president has done is to look at the environment historically, the economic environment historically, and determine this is how we need to move away from what we have been going through. What had been the characterization, the major characterization of the Nigerian economy is a boom and bust character, where when we have increase in the price of crude oil and the quantity is also high, we have so much revenue to deal with, and then we go into a frenzy of spending. In the middle of that frenzy, price falls.
And as Tinubu marks his 1 year in government as Nigeria's 16th head of state, there have been different views about his style of governance and approach to managing the nation's diversity, with some opposition leaders accusing him of weakening the opposition and planning a one-party state.
He came in under a very contentious political cycle, where the litigations were all over. He promised to set up his cabinet, and hit the ground running. But again, that was also delayed, perhaps by the political turmoil in the land. So assessing him within the first year will be very difficult, in the sense that if you look at the whole indices that you will use to judge his performance, you will discover that there are so many areas that you can continuously look at, and you may not be able to judge correctly. But if you ask me my opinion, I will say that his first 1 year has not been very impressive.
Unfulfilled promises. It has been a year of failed expectations, and I think it's generally been a year of hardship for Nigerians. Okay, that is a fact. Because I was just looking at watching your news, and it says 33.69% inflation.
Also controversial is his decision to appoint 48 ministers, making it the largest cabinet in Nigeria's history. But many of them have been accused by Nigerians of being invisible and non-effective.
The poor masses, the downtrodden, everything is only designed to elevate the rich. That's all. No plan for the poor. Thank you.
To crash petrol. You understand? Bring it down. so that those that are importing or exporting goods won't be complaining of high cost of transportation. It's even worse than Buhari's administration. Am I right or not? With the rate of things going high every day, scoring astronomically, I'm talking of produce in the market. It can tell you, that alone will tell you that the leadership of Tinubu has truly failed. If you want the truth, okay. It has failed in so many aspects. When I try to ask, I've asked several people, what has the federal government done for the citizen of Nigeria? Is it the light, water? In comparison to some other civilized society where you get a food stamp if you are jobless, where you get some stipend here and there, where you get grant for your education and stuff like that. None of these we are receiving from the federal government.
I'm sorry, I cannot point out, ask me, Sonny, Sylvester, Monitafe, a major stakeholder in the APC. And I will never leave the APC. I've not done anti-party, I will do anti-party. Mr. President, I'm an ordinary Nigerian. I cannot point at ABCD that I've achieved. On the go.
It will be dubious for anybody to talk about nail and hammer projects as achievements. Because even if you are going to build a bungalow as an individual, you know what time it will take to build a bungalow, except you are not serious. It is the direction of the government that is important to me. We are seeing a government that is introducing a credit system into the economy. We are seeing a government that is saying no Nigerian that is qualified to go to school and has been admitted to school would be bereft of that opportunity. So there's students loan fund. There are what do you call it, funding for nano entrepreneurs, 50 billion that had just been shared. I mean that had been shared now. 75 billion to companies and all that. There's a Lagos-Calabar coastal road. Exciting. There's the which I call very, very ambitious, Badagry-Sokoto road. These are in the pipeline. They have even left the pipeline. They are now budgeted approved projects. The renewed hope cities. These are very, very ambitious projects, but we don't expect these projects to have been delivered now. It would have even been dangerous to claim credit for it, But again, by this time next year, we can now say, okay, this is how far we have gone. We know that we should be in a construction site of a projected 500 kilometers, for instance. In a year, minimum, we should have done 120. That is when we can start laying credits. But for now, it is the direction, it is the vision, it is the philosophy. Those are what are exciting people like us. It won't be about the exact, because we know eventually the exact will come, because the premise, have been established. I still give even those who are lagging the benefit of doubt. 9 months are not enough, to determine what somebody had done in office. For instance, our procurement process is a minimum of 6 months. So the person gets into office, he needs to do procurement. He will need to first consolidate his own presence in that office, understand the dynamics of the office and all that before he even proceeds on procurement. And after 6 months, that is when you start seeing even the processes being crystallized. It will not take less than another 12 months before you start seeing the real, impact or result of the procurement. So I think the important thing is to see the philosophy emerging, the philosophy that underpins the direction of the administration.
His first task would be to buy into the confidence of the people. I, for example, would not mind if I will not be dwelling on whether he won or not, if things are moving. But after all, what's the Nigerians live well, live prosperity, economics, security, stability, ability to live well, good health services, all those things, good schools, all those things. If we're having it, who will complain? That's the end of government. But we are not getting that. So since we are not getting that, all we are getting is suffering of us in a very cruel manner. I mean, it's cruelty at the highest level in government.
This cabinet is made up of a conquer mixture of strange bedfellows. Those who have no belief in the APC ideology or in the presidency of Tinubu. And there are many in number. So far, some of them can barely be seen. You can barely see anything they are doing. Others are taking actions that put the government on the reverse gear. He should be courageous enough, as he has demonstrated in the removal of oil subsidy, in the student loan scheme, in the unbundling of some of these agencies that are modeled up. That courage should also be demonstrated by taking out those who have become the Jonas in this ship of Nigeria.
Okay, then the last year before President Tinubu came to power, okay, there has been that. And then again also, you might look at the last 1 year on the positive side, because one thing with this government is that, to be honest, the last 1 year has been a failure. There's no doubt about that. However, they seem to be concerned about their own failure. It's different from their predecessors, who were failing and they were not concerned about their failure. They were unapologetic about their failure. President Tinubu won 37%. If I may use that word, just 37% of the votes. So if the opposition had been, united, if the PDP has not been, dismantled into Labour Party, okay, and PDP.
One constant criticism by his opponents has been the claim that Tinubu bought his way to the presidency with the support of other money bags. They add that he in turn used it to allegedly compensate cronies, which is now bugging his government.
That's what we're having. You can't find one of the leaders, so-called leaders, who will walk in and say, do this, don't do this. They collected his money and rigged him in and wrote the result and kept quiet while people were protesting. So who can complain, except those of us that didn't collect his money?
All right, so try to round up this conversation. What are the landmark achievements of President Tinubu in 1 year that could say positively, that have impacted?
Why do you say, you say landmark? Landmark achievement can be 0 or negative or positive. What can I say now? I don't know of any. Maybe in the future. Maybe the misery he's heaping on us, maybe to turn around in the few years. But right now, it's misery over misery over misery.
So if you say he paid his way, and on the day of the election there was no naira to spend, how could he have paid his way to win the election?
This has heightened the contentious calls for accountability on the source of his stupendous wealth and similar calls for an evaluation of his personal credentials with the authenticity of his school certificate, creating a huge political drama. But analysts say for every Nigerian who insists that Tinubu's wealth is ill-gotten, there is another one who counters that he merely typifies a political class that is rotten to the bone.
I know
President Tinubu's emergence outside of the old military power brokers and party apparatchiks may be an indication of Nigeria's future political power play, where rich and powerful Nigerians could go the whole hog alone to the presidency. Somna Sambu, Arise News.
You listen to that. Now, how many people spoke on this video? Only 1 or 2 have contrary opinion to other people's opinion, which is APC members. That is to say, majority carries the vote. To say Tinubu's failed under 1 year. That's what it simply basically means. That Tinubu 1 year in office is a year of agony, pain, a year of tragedy. 1 year in office has failed. Now, let me tell you something. What Tinubu is doing now, the next 3 years, what he's trying to do, what they are doing the next 3 years, is to try and bring this country back to where Buhari left us. Not how to make this country greater than where Buhari left us. That's what they are trying to do, because there is a deep gap from where Buhari left us in this country as a president to where it is now. You understand? So that's what Tinubu is doing now. He's trying to bring the country. And I tell you, in the next 3 months, in the next 3 years, this country, Tinubu cannot face this country greater than where Buhari left us. They can only try their possible best to be where Buhari left us. Bet it, fuel cannot go back to 200. Fuel price, I don't see it. That fuel price will go back to 200 where Buhari left us. He could do all that thing, do all this, the saying he's doing this, making plans, making this, making that. Take my word for it. Yeah? Tinubu cannot do it. Because I've been saying and I'll continue to say all this. Tinubu cannot, under this administration of Tinubu, this country can never be great. This country cannot be great. It can only get worse, not get better. So, if you have been following this, especially this period of 1 year assessment review, if you have been listening to a lot of people, analysts speaks about this, you see, most all the analysts have rated this administration as a failure. Yeah, if you say just 1 year, let's give him another 1 year in office to see what he can do. He's putting things in play. What are those things? Right from day one, somebody said all the indications are pointing at failure. Since that day till today, none of those indications has changed to positive. That is to say, it's going to work in the next 1 year. So it's still going to be drama upon drama, another 1 year. So this, I don't know why this government just come just like that, come from nowhere to cause hardship to this country, to Nigerian citizens. I don't get it. This is unnecessary suffering. Suffering and smiling. You don't understand. A country where people are losing jobs, company are relocating. How do you justify that? Company are relocating out of the country and you say you want to fix. Is the country working good? Is it they are relocating? No. No. A country where company are relocating, you are expecting others to come and invest. They are not coming. How many of those things? How many of those foreign investors? That's the area they focus on. They are bringing in foreign investors to invest. How many of them you see in Nigeria? A country where they are losing contracts, investment, worth billions of naira to other country because of inconsistency in policy. Name it. Name it. So it's not, I don't know. I just wish this man I don't know the miracle. So I don't know the miracle to this or the magic to this. I don't know. But except something change in future. But for now, we are not seeing anything to say Tinubu has done well. If he's doing well, we say not just me, a lot of people have said it. If he's doing well, we also come and talk about it. We know some of the ministers, what they are doing. Some of them that are doing well, some of them that are not doing well. We talk about them. But in general, this administration has failed. So what am I trying to say here? Don't wait for this government to say you are expecting a fuel price to go down. You are wasting your time. Don't wait for this government to give you light. You are wasting your time. If Alex Oti, what Alex Oti is doing under 1 year, go and see. That one broke record. Guinness Book of Record. If he can do okay, even for you to know when somebody is serious doing something, go and check how many governors are doing what Alex have done, what Alex Oti has done under 1 year. Go and check. So it was this Alex Oti makes us to understand that all these things are possible within this period of time. 1 year, this thing can be done. How many roles? Commission how many roles? It makes us to understand, this government work is not easy to do. So you can give somebody project within 3 months, they finish the project. You can award the contract within 3 months, they finish. So you can have electricity in the state within how many months? There in Nigeria. So how many years will it go to take for the whole Nigeria to have light? Put it upon each governor to make electricity work in their state. So if one governor can do it, others too can do it. If federal government cannot do it, no governor has seen what Alex Oti is doing and as they are still criticizing. Go and check how many foreign investors have come into Abia State to invest because everything is working. Internationals are saying. So you don't need to beg. That's what I'm saying. So don't wait for Tinubu to do all those things for you. Not wait for Tinubu to come and fix the road next to you or number one. No, he's not going to do that. He's only interested in collecting from you, taking multiple taxes. That is the only way. That's what they are doing. So don't wait to try and develop means of making money, because that's why I'm even happy, because when you look at every young youth now, you ask them, what do you do? I say, I'm this self-employed. I do this for myself. I do this for myself. No government. No, how many people doing government work in Nigeria? A lot of people are beginning to understand this government failed, so they are now creating employment jobs for themselves. That is the way out. So I'm just trying to say, not fold hands, wait for government, because this government, it cannot do it. So that it will not affect you. Just try and be creative, look for something to do. That's the only way. So please share, like, comment on this video, and please do me a favor. I'll be your guide now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. And thank you for those that have subscribed so far. Please support your boy now. You know I see they go now. Please just subscribe, hit the notification button so that you see all the videos.